The 7th Seraph Saw is a relic from way back when in Season of the Worthy. You could previously obtain it through the grind of upgrading nodes in the Warmind bunkers scattered around Destiny 2, and it was part of the now fabled set of weapons that brought with it the rise of the game's strongest ever mechanic. Fortunately, in Season 15, machine guns will be seeing a buff, and so you could be seeing a lot more of this one. Thanks to its strong set of perk options, as well as its intrinsic ability to create Warmind Cells on tap, I believe it's one that you need to hunt down right now. It's in the same archetype as the Nightfall exclusive reward, the Swarm, which is going to be its direct competition for a place in your loadout. The 7th Seraph Saw is way easier to obtain though than the Swarm, but unfortunately it's probably the rarest machine gun too. You don't have to grind through endgame Nightfall level content to get one, as it does drop from any legendary engram. It's part of the world loot pool though, and with newer weapons more likely to drop more often, it can be rather difficult to target. It can drop from any vendor rank up package reward, as well as unfocused umbral engrams, but by far the easiest way to get one though is through using the gunsmith materials at Banshee in the tower. This is because the gunsmith will only drop weapons from the world loot pool, and so if, like myself, you have a ton of gunsmith materials, you'll want to be spending your time there to try and get one. So that's how to get it, but why should you get it? Well, it's all to do with the fact that it can create Warmind Cells. It's the only legendary heavy weapon in the entire game that can create Warmind Cells without any gimmicks such as explosions. 5 final blows from this weapon will create a Warmind Cell, and this works the same for any Aikilos or Seraph weapon. Warmind Cells are easily the strongest single mechanic in Destiny 2, as with the right combination of mods you can destroy entire waves of adds, become charged with light, create elemental wells, or even buff your ability cooldowns. Now there's lots of great builds you can put together, but there's one particular mod that makes the 7th Seraph Saw the outright strongest DPS machine gun in the entire game. The Power of Rasputin is a void affinity mod and costs 4 energy. This mod grants you a buff to weapon damage against enemies that are near Warmind Cells. This is a 10% damage buff and will apply to all enemies who are highlighted in a yellow hue by the Warmind Cell. You can extend this effect further by using Global Reach to cover a wider area of adds. This is a neutral affinity mod and costs just 1 energy, arguably making it the best value Warmind Cell mod to use, as you can place it on any armour piece. Now we've got the damage bonus from the Warmind Cell, but why do you need it? Well, the 7th Seraph Saw has a very strong and also unique set of perks which in my eyes make it extremely desirable. I've had this roll sitting in my vault until just the other day when I went through it to find the best machine guns for Season 15. If you want to check out that video, there's a link in the description where I discuss all the best roll options for all the machine guns currently available in the game, except the moon one, because well, I forgot it existed. Before we go on though, why not take a brief moment to subscribe to the channel? I've got tons of builds and guides aimed at making the endgame of Destiny 2 as accessible as possible to everyone, so that you too can get the loot. Remember to hit the like button too if you enjoyed this video, and also check out our community Discord server where we discuss builds and everything Destiny 2. Now let's get back to the machine gun. Like I said, this one was sitting in my vault from back in the day, and with the upcoming buff, I think it's one you need to be trying to get, or hopefully just dusting off from your vault. It's a high impact frame machine gun, meaning it's slow firing, more accurate when stationary and when aiming down sights. It's an arc weapon and fires at 360 rounds per minute. Mine comes with corkscrew rifling for an increase to its range, stability and handling, a pendant mag for a flat increase to its magazine size. Then we've got Clown Cartridge in the first perk column, which randomly overfills the weapons magazine from reserves when reloading. And in the final perk column, we've got Vorpal Weapon, which grants a 15% increase to damage against bosses, vehicles and guardians in their super. I have a range masterwork which allows it to hit max damage at longer distances, and I have the boss spec mod equipped which further buffs its damage output. It has a base magazine size of 51, but thanks to Clown Cartridge, you'll consistently be getting magazines with over 60 and even 70 rounds after reloading. This perk alone puts it on par with the God Roll Swarm, which can hit 75 in the magazine with an extended mag and bottomless grief roll. And again, you don't have to grind through Nightfalls endlessly to grab a 7th Seraph Saw. Fortunately too, the perk pool for the 7th Seraph Saw is relatively small, so as and when you do get one to drop, it's likely you'll get a desirable roll. Obviously, we want to keep the magazine size as high as possible to really benefit from its maximum damage output, so alternatively you can get extended mag as an option too. It can also roll with auto-loading holster, which will be great if you need to change weapons through a damage phase, and you can even get the unique firing line perk. It's not one you find on many weapons at the minute, but it grants a 20% boost to damage on all enemies when you are near 2 or more allies, making it a worthy replacement to Vorpal weapon. So why is this weapon so strong, and how does it all stack up in terms of pure DPS when compared to the Swarm? Well, let's look at the damage of the Swarm Adept, the best version of this machine gun, which allows you to use the Adept Big Ones mod for an even greater damage boost. I'm using a Vorpal weapon roll 2, and with this it does 3781 precision damage and 2671 to the body. Now when compared to the base damage of the 7th Seraph Saw, that hits with 3509 precision damage and 2503 to the body. But when you're rocking the Power of Rasputin mod, it bumps the damage all the way up to 3860 precision damage and 2753 to the body. As you can see, it's easily outpacing it, and when you factor in how much easier this weapon is to obtain than the Swarm, which is only available on rotation when it's the Nightfall specific reward for certain weeks, it makes it an absolute no-brainer in my opinion. Either way, both of these only sit in the low 20,000s in terms of actual DPS and are nowhere near high enough when compared to the current meta of slug shotguns. But if machine guns as a whole get a nice bump to damage overall, or even just the crit multiplier, it's definitely food for thought. Finally, let's look at a future-proof build that will set you well on your way once Season 15 Sandbox arrives. Mods wise, you'll want to use both the Power of Rasputin and Global Reach as we've previously discussed. Chuck on the Wrath of Rasputin to allow you to create Warmind Cells from solar splash damage final blows, and the Rage of the Warmind to add additional solar damage from Warmind Cell explosions. These two mods combined will technically allow you to create further Warmind Cells from simply the explosions that the Warmind Cells create when defeating enemies with them, and therefore maximising the potential to have the Power of Rasputin damage buff when required for bosses or champions. Finally, the Burning Cells mod will apply a solar damage over time burn to any enemies affected by the Warmind Cell explosions. As for weapons, and with your heavy slot being used by the machine gun, I would highly recommend the exotic grenade launcher with a Horde. With Anarchy getting an impending nerf, this special ammo kinetic weapon will dramatically boost any DPS due to its damage over time blighting effect. And for bonus points, it too can create Warmind Cells if you swap to any Aikilos or Seraph weapon on final blows with it. This means you can either use the Seraph or Aikilos SMG in the energy slot, or quite frankly any of your favourite primary energy weapons to be honest. This build setup will work great on any class whether you're a Warlock, Titan or Hunter, and remember you can maximise your DPS using the Warlock's Well of Radiance, the Titan's Ward of Dawn Bubble or Night Stalker's Hunter's Tether here as well. Lastly, as a general point to consider, you'll want to do anything you can to boost the handling and reload speed of the 7th Seraph Saw during DPS phases. Rally Barricades for Titans, Lunafaction Boots for Warlocks, and even the Stasis Fragment, the Whisper of Impetus, along with machine gun specific mods will go a long way to really cementing its place in your loadout during Season 15 and beyond. So there we go, the most powerful legendary machine gun is back on the menu, and with a few weeks to go until Season 15, it gives you plenty of time to stack up on legendary or umbral engrams for you to go and get one. I hope you enjoyed this deep dive into this Warmind weapon you will be seeing a lot more of next season. If you did, then please give this video a like down below and also subscribe if you're new. And that's it for this one though, so on that, and as always, thank you very much for watching, and I hope to see you next time.